I rise today to support the Not My Boss's Business Act, which will help to fix the recent Supreme Court lobby decision by making it illegal for a company to deny their workers specific health benefits, including birth control, as required to be covered by federal law. I'm proud to be an original co-sponsor of this bill, which is necessary to ensure that all women have access to preventative care. I want to say on a personal note, I was a young child growing up in a household with a working mother, a mom that worked for a big corporation and actually worked in human resources. My table would often be one where was discussed my mother dealing with challenges of racial discrimination, challenges of sexism in the workplace. And I watched how my mother in human resources would fight to make sure that we as a nation, as well as this particular corporation, continue to advance in fairly treating all of its employees. I was proud to watch my mother assert her independence, her freedoms, and her basic sense of equity, which resonates with the highest values of this nation. What is frustrating to me now that here we stand in 2014 and we seem to be fighting so many of these battles and advancements that we won before that still need to be fought now. It's unthinkable to me, as we should be turning our focus towards other things like paid family leave or raising the minimum wage, that here we are again fighting about whether women should have the right to have access to birth control. And this is unfortunate because contraception is essential to a woman's right to make her own personal health decisions. Birth control is not only a basic to making healthcare decisions, but it's one that 99% of women avail themselves of. Throughout their lifetime, we will see 99% of American women avail themselves of birth control. And these women should not be forced to decide between contraception and a tank of gas, or between contraception and meals for their family, contraception and paying rent. The Hobby Lobby decision, if you think about it, is imposing the will of corporation. One corporation's board members, religious beliefs or what have you, can be imposed such that it would cost women who now want to exercise their freedom up to $1,000 a year. For minimum wage or low-wage workers, the $40 out-of-pocket expense of birth control each month is a real and substantive financial burden. Let's be clear. Workers can ensure the insurance coverage through their labor. It's part of their earned pay. This is not a free giveaway. They earn this coverage. What they spend their health care coverage on is their business, not their boss's business. I deeply value ideals of religious liberty. This is what our country was founded on. But religious liberty belongs to all of us. It does not belong to a corporation. Religious liberty means being free from having other people's religions foisted upon you, imposed upon you, forced upon you. Most employees would never dream of telling their bosses what they must decide and abide by in terms of religious freedom. And by that same principle, no boss should have the right to impose their religion on the people who work for him. That's one of the reasons why so many faith leaders have spoken up against the Hobby Lobby decision. It is now making it acceptable for a corporation to impose on the individual liberty of others their religious beliefs and also the financial freedom that goes along with that, and also the ability for a woman to make critical health care decisions that might even be interfering with a doctor who is telling a patient what is best for them and their health. The views held by companies' owners should not be able to interfere with this basic understanding and fundamental right. The Not My Boss's Business Act protects workers' religious liberty by not allowing their bosses to impose this hardship, to impose their religion, to oppose what I believe ultimately comes down to discrimination. Finally, the precedent is set by this decision could open the door wider and wider for more court cases and more employers who want to deny more aspects of basic health coverage and services because they claim that it conflicts with the boss's religious beliefs. From blood transfusions to vaccinations, we are now in a minefield in which we can have the destruction of religious freedoms of employees and the healthcare freedoms that we have fought so hard to manifest. The Hobby Lobby decision is a step backwards that we must correct. It is a step against women's rights. It's a step against religious freedom. It's a step against workers who earn basic benefits to have the ability to make those benefits real in their lives. The Not My Boss's Business Act will make it clear that bosses cannot discriminate. The Not My Boss's Business Act will make it clear that there should be equal treatment under the law for the tens of thousands of workers whose coverage now hangs in the balance. A woman's healthcare decisions should be between that woman and her doctor. There is no room for a boss's religious beliefs in that equation, period. I watched for decades growing up, not only my mother, but countless people fight to establish basic principles in the workplace. We cannot go back now. This is such a critical piece of legislation to correct for the mistakes in this Supreme Court decision and assert those fundamental American ideals that individuals should be able to make their own healthcare decisions, that bosses and corporations should not impose religious beliefs on others, and that we are a nation where every woman can create a sacrosanct and private relationship with their doctor and make ultimately the healthcare decisions that are best for them, not ones in any way influenced or affected by a corporation. I want to thank, again, the Senate, the President for this time, but most importantly, I want to thank Senator Murray and other senators who have led on this issue. Thank you very much, and I yield the floor.